Some of the main reasons that I see people getting divorced are based upon events that occur in their marriage, such as infidelity. There's money issues. Perhaps someone's hiding money or they're a spender. They could be gambling away the marital assets of the family. Other situations that I see that quite common are mental health issues that arise or an absentee parent. They're just not around and giving attention to the other partner. Um, the other partner feels like they're doing things all alone and doing them all by themselves. There's a whole host of variety of reasons, but I think the most popular ones that I see more frequently are involving adultery and finances. When people get married, they plan to stay together. They plan to build an entire life together. And this idea of getting divorced, ending a relationship, that's a very big decision to make and one that shouldn't be taken lightly. When you make a lifelong commitment to somebody, that involves everything from your vows that you make and the promises that you made to one another to spend the rest of your lives together. While there are circumstances where maybe you have to get divorced or it's just not healthy for you to remain in the relationship, particularly when there are children, in my opinion, I think that's a really great reason to try to make things work. However, if they're truly unhealthy and not safe for you or for the children to remain in the marriage, I can understand people making other choices when there are children involved. So you have other little beings that you are caring for and whose lives are going to be impacted by your decision. I think that's something that you really need to take into consideration and try to fight for the relationship and try to see if you can provide and continue to provide safety and security and stability for your children until at least their adult age, if you can. So there are various alternatives to divorce. Some people may choose not to actually get divorced and do the whole formal legal process, just stop living together and doing their own thing. I've seen other couples make it more formal, where they'll live separately and apart pursuant to a separation agreement. So that would involve an attorney who would put together a separation agreement that both of you would sign with all the proper acknowledgments, and it's usually recorded and filed with the court. So you don't have to convert that to a divorce. You can just live pursuant to a separation agreement. That's perfectly up to you and what you want to do. And there are many different reasons why would somebody do that. Like, why would you go through the whole effort of drafting an agreement like this and making all your finances separate? And if you have children, working out all the custody arrangements. And some people do it for medical reasons because really you could only be on your spouse's medical insurance if you're married. Once you're no longer married, you can no longer be on the other person's policy. So sometimes people in a long relationship, if there's a medical concern or medical issue, that might be a reason why they might not go through a formal divorce, but they'll maintain it as a separation. And they may have other personal reasons. In addition to divorcing, you can figure it out outside of court. Try to do the paperwork on your own. You can go through other processes like mediation or collaborative divorce. Those are other more formal processes where you engage professionals to help you navigate and negotiate all the terms of your divorce. And then, of course, you can go all the way to the other end of the spectrum where you lawyer up, litigate, trial, motion practice. And then there's even a range in between that. So where you have mediation, collaborative, you can also separately lawyer up, but engage your attorney for the purpose of trying to negotiate and work out a settlement. So you're going to try to stay out of court as much as possible, but you want your lawyer more involved and you're not interested in mediation or collaborative, and that's totally fine. Making the decision to divorce is a very serious decision to make, probably one of the most important decisions that you'll ever make in your life, aside from deciding to get married. So when you're making that decision to get divorced, some people may just rush and just go and file and not really think about the consequences and what does that mean and if there's an impact on anything. Or you could take your time, you can contact an attorney, you could do some research and find out exactly what does it mean when I file for divorce? What does it mean when I file that initial document, the summons with notice or a summons and complaint? What does that do? And so some of those things is there's a concept called stopping the clock with respect to your finances. And there's other ramifications as well with respect to filing. But for the most part, it just kind of draws a line in the sand for purposes of court when your marriage is technically over, even though it's not over until judge signs off. But there are some significant events that are factored all around the time frame of when you actually file for divorce. So, if you have any additional questions with respect to reasons to get divorced, reasons not to get the divorce, how to get started with the divorce, my name is Sabra of Sabra Law Group. Give our office a call and schedule your consultation.